the farming sector. I want to introduce our guest this evening. We have Dr. Naushad Forbes. He's the co-chairman of Forbes Marshall, former president of CII. Siraj Hussain, former Secretary Agriculture in the Government of India. Abhishek Ram is a fellow member of ICAI and author. Let me now come to you first, Dr. Naushad Forbes. What do you think of the announcements that have been made so far? By the way, the announcements have already crossed close to 60% of the allocated 20 lakh crores yesterday.
So, the announcements are welcome without any ambiguity. It's been now well over a month since we'd suggested from CII some recommendations of an economic package. And if anything, these announcements are very late, but it's welcome that we have them. I think the packages around the MSMEs and the loan guarantees for MSMEs are particularly valuable. It's essential to provide MSMEs with greater liquidity and support for their activities such that they can sustain employment going forward. Also welcome was the expansion in the definition of what an MSME is. It's now gone to a limit of 100 crores for a medium-sized firm. That's still too low, by the way. If you compare anything worldwide, most countries would see a small firm having a limit of about 100 crores and a medium-sized firm having a limit maybe of 500 or 1,000 crores. So we still have some work to do there, but it's still a move in the right direction. And then the announcement around the non-banking finance corporation support and the DISCOM support for the electricity distributors was also welcome. What's pending as of now is support for the bottom of the pyramid. Correct. Maybe we'll hear something about that today, where we've recommended some direct benefit transfers. And second, what's also pending is wider enterprise support. What's been provided is MSME support, but there is a need to provide support for certain really hard-hit sectors like construction, and then wider enterprise support, as we've seen essentially a halt to the economy in these as a part of the lockdown.
Okay. Siraj Hussain is also with us, and so is Dr. Maheshgupta, the CMD of Kent RO. Thank you so much to the two of you. Mr. Hussain, let me come to you. It is believed that now the announcement will move from, say, the MSME sector to the places where you really need to focus on. I'm not saying MSME is not an important focus, but the immediate concern is the plight of the farmers. Immediate concern is the plight of the migrant laborers. What should be the basis of a financial assistance for these two sectors?
As far as the farmers are concerned, the government already has a scheme in place called PM Kisan, under which rupees 6,000 is to be transferred to every landholder within a year. But that does not take care of the really distressed farmer. What happens is that this 6,000 rupees goes to everyone, whether he's a sugarcane farmer or a wheat and rice farmer who has been able to sell his crop at MSP. But the really distressed farmers are those who have not been able to sell at MSP. For example, the farmers who grow pulses, or the farmers who have grown oilseeds, soybean, etc. in the last kharif. So there is a need to differentiate. It is not going to be easy, but I think there is a very strong need to reach out to farmers who have not realized MSP or whose prices have fallen. For example, vegetables farmers, fruit farmers, poultry farmers to top it all, and the dairy farmers. So this is one. The more difficult part is to reach out to those people who have been working in the informal sector, and as we know, that is about 90% of our workforce. Now, there is no data to reach out to them directly. The Jan Dhan accounts, we do not know who are these account holders. So that is going to be a different call. Various suggestions have been made. For example, a suggestion has been made that anybody who has worked under Manrega should be provided a certain amount, 7,000 or 8,000 rupees per month, so that you can survive for the next 3 to 6 months. I think the government would be working on some of these ideas, and we may see an announcement today.
Okay. Dr. Maheshgupta is also with us. He's the CMD of Kent RO. Dr. Gupta, these announcements are crucial. Many members of the MSME sector, they found, in fact, we spoke to them and they said that these are good announcements. In fact, the government has gone well beyond their expectations also. But in your view, what exactly needs to be done? What is the major concern, immediate, unaddressed concern that the government should be thinking about?
Yeah, I think the government needs to come out with help in various sectors which has not been announced. The large industrial sector is one of them. The service sector is the another one which has been affected because everybody has to pay salaries. And how do they get some type of help is also has to be looked at. The real estate is the real issue at this moment of time. They were suffering because of lack of demand. What has been given yesterday is very bigger. The migratory labor issue is again related to the construction workers. The workers working in the factories would be addressed by some means or the other. But the workers working on the real estate, construction sector, they are not the ones who are registered. But most of them are expected to be registered under Provident Fund scheme. So maybe the government can pay them out through the Provident Fund scheme of the contractors. But if we can address that issue, that would be very, very welcome step. And obviously the farmer issue, as we have discussed, would be addressed. And it has been addressed in the past. But the problem is farmers, the contractors who work in the farm sector are also unorganized labor. And what type of a mechanism would be evolved there is to be seen. But it's a challenge for the government to address to each sector.
Okay. Chandan Kumar, you're a member of the Minimum Wage Advisory Board of the Government of India and also a coordinator of the Working People's Charter. Chandan, you know, I'm just going through this press release by the Bharatiya Mazdoor Sangh, which is the trade union arm of the RSS. Now, they too seem to be proposing protesting the proposed labour law changes by BJP governments in UP, MP and Gujarat. Do you think that in the name of reforms and packages, we may end up doing certain things which we ought not do?
Sanket, thank you so much for the opportunity. First of all, I welcome the Prime Minister package, and Nirmala Sitharaman was explaining yesterday about the details, little bit details. We are looking forward more details to come. But the two questions I really would like to raise it. The one question is that this entire MSME loan is not meant for the non-functional MSME. The MSME which is already shut down, the MSME which is already ripped off, and the workers have already returned back home. How are you basically going to revive that? I mean, workers are dying on the street. You know the situation, the despair, the horrible situation on the ground. And on top of it, there is a massive labor law reform. Just now, 2 hours ago, the UP governor has signed the UP labor law ordinance. Now it's been sent for the president assent. You are killing workers. You are ripping off their rights. You don't have the union power. You don't have the right to minimum wages. You don't have occupational safety and health working condition. Are you really expecting these workers to come back? And if these workers are not going to come back, how are you going to run the industry, Sanket? I have no idea about that. So I didn't hear in a single line, a single word from the Prime Minister on that. And even for these MSMEs, how there's going to be a demand in the market? Do you think the people have the bargaining power? People do have a purchasing power to use these products is going to manufacture by the manufacturing industry? If it is not, all these loans is going to become the NPA. So I think there's a serious problem in this economic announcement. And the last thing, I would definitely like to raise it as a trade union, as an organization. I respect what BMS is trying to do, but I'm not sure how much BMS can actually, check government to take a strong measures not to doing the labor law reform. As a union, I don't think so. I'm going to encourage workers to come back. Industry people is calling us every day. Will workers is going to come back? Will workers is going to come back?
Okay,
I'm saying
now
no.
This is an absolutely alarming
are
situation.
ripping of their rights.
Now what Chandan is saying, Dr. Forbes.
Yeah.
Dr. Forbes, let's one by one get in some perspective also. Dr. Forbes, if you hear Chandan Kumar, and if this is the sentiment on the ground, then this will spell very, very bad news for the industry, for the country, for the economy.
You're talking about the changes in the UP and MP labor laws?
No, not just labor laws. The general feeling among the general feeling among the laborers, among the working class, that they're being discriminated against.
We have humiliated them. We have humiliated them, disrespected them.
I think there's no doubt in my mind that the way in which we have treated migrant labor is shocking. It is shameful for us as a country, and the only way in which we can expect labor to want to migrate and work in the cities or work in any enterprise is if they have the freedom to return home when they choose. So entry and exit go together, absolutely. So I think without question, we should really, I think, hang our heads in shame in terms of how we've dealt with migrant labor in these last 6 or 7 weeks. I don't think there's any excuse that we should try to offer for it.
Okay.
I would like to talk, though, about the UP and MP labor laws.
Yeah, please.
You know, for too long, we've had this very sort of differentiated labor system in the country. Over 80% of all labor, someone mentioned, over 80% of all of the entire workforce is informally employed, and that informal workforce gets almost no protection, and there's complete flexibility in labor conditions. They just do not come under the labor laws that exist in the country. You've got then well under 20% of the workforce, which comes under very stringent labor laws, where you have almost no flexibility and you have almost complete protection. So you have these two groups, both of which actually, if you ask me, are working under the wrong labor contracts. You need to find a balance between flexibility and protection for all workers, for people across the labor force. And while you can't do that in the short run, it's a long and big project to undertake. I think the crisis that we've seen with our migrant workers and these moves that we are seeing, I would say almost knee-jerk reactions that we are seeing from UP and MP, I think this is an opportunity to address our labor reform in a much more broad-based way. So why don't we look really at how we can provide a balance and the right balance of flexibility and protection
that applies a very big
across the entire workforce.
That's a very big. I think
big point.
The key word being used by Dr. Forbes over here, Siraj Hussain, as well as Dr. Maheshgupta, your views very quickly. Siraj Hussain, the word that is used, yeah, Chandan, I'll come to you. The words used by Dr. Forbes is that this is some sort of a knee-jerk response by states. In the name of reforms, you are doing certain things which have not been thought well or thought properly. Would you agree? But you know, there is a larger concern over here. In any case, a majority of your workforce is in the unorganized sector. None of these rules 93%. Are applicable there.
93%, yeah.
Actually, the center has been working on a reformed labor code, and therefore, in my view, the states should have waited for the center to come out with that model law, which could have been modified suitably by the state government. But I think the states think that now is the time when democracy is at its bottom and they can do pretty as well as they can. So I think it is slightly misplaced, this current spate of so-called reforms what we are seeing. Because what happens is that for such long-lasting things, it is always better to reach a consensus so that there is no change tomorrow. Now imagine if another government were to change these laws tomorrow, what will happen to the industries being set up in the meantime?
Sure. Let's quickly get in a view from Dr. Gupta as well as Chandan on this crucial point. I mean, your response cannot be knee-jerk. You want to do the laborers good, the migrant laborers good. You want to protect the interests of the farmers. Then let's not have a knee-jerk reaction. Dr. Gupta first and then Chandan Kumar.
Yeah, you see, let's first understand why the labor is required. Labor is very dear to every industrialist. In every action, even in the farming sector, If labor is not there, I don't think we can continue the effort. So their welfare is very, very important to everybody. However, the laws make it discriminatory. To certain section, 20%, it has certain laws, 80% different laws. And IR problems in the industries also become because of this. Factories do not want to employ more formal labor because there is no exit policy out there. Let's understand, today the way we do business is changing. The life cycles of businesses have reduced. Today, we can't have a business, if we install a machine, it will run for years and generations. Today, you start a project and maybe its lifetime as a technology is only 5 years. So people are not ready to commit themselves to such a large labor. If I think the one clause which is very important is some exit clause, but with welfare, with reskilling labor, that needs to come. Somehow the other, with the organized labor, they have always gone against this thing. The moment this is taken care, I think this whole problem will resolve. We can make laws which are very tough, providing welfare to the labor. But this clause is the troubling clause, I think. We need to sit down across the table. We need to resolve this issue so that every employee in a factory has a similar level of comfort.
Sure, Dr. Gupta. I've completely run out of time in this discussion. Just 13 minutes left for the Finance Minister's second press conference. Mr. Chandan Kumar, my apologies. I'll have to take a short break at this moment as we prepare for that. Yeah, okay. Quick closing comments, 10 seconds, please.
Okay, I'm only saying that through your TV with the folded hand, please, President, do not give assent to the UP ordinance bill which is approved by the governor today. This is my humble request. I beg the President of India, please do not give approval.
All right. Thank you so much, Chandan Kumar, Naushad Forbes, Siraj Hussain, as well as Dr. Mahesh Gupta for this discussion. We are stopping for a short break at this moment. News and updates are going to continue on the other side. Remember that all crucial press briefing is going to take place, and we'll also get you a story, a very important one, on some possible breakthrough. Back in a bit.